The year was 2147, and Earth had changed dramatically over the past century. Decades of environmental collapse had left scars across the planet. Cities rebuilt from ruins, oceans rising to swallow coastlines, and vast deserts swallowing once fertile lands. Humanity had survived, but barely. The United Earth Council, UEC, a coalition formed in desperation after global governments collapsed, now governed what remained of human civilization. While progress had been made in rebuilding ecosystems and stabilizing populations, fear lingered like a shadow over every decision. On an ordinary morning in New Geneva, a sprawling metropolis built atop the ruins of Switzerland's old capital, the sky suddenly darkened. It wasn't clouds or storms that dimmed the sunlight. It was something far more ominous. A massive object descended into orbit above Earth, its metallic surface shimmering with hues of gold and silver. It looked like nothing humanity had ever seen before, an alien vessel so large it could be seen with the naked eye from the ground. Panic spread quickly as news outlets broadcast images of the ship circling the planet. Speculation ran rampant. Was this an invasion, a warning, or perhaps a chance for salvation? Governments scrambled to respond, trying to establish communication through radio waves, laser signals, and even ancient Morse code. For hours, there was no reply. Silence reigned, heavy and suffocating. Then, just as hope began to fade, a voice boomed across all frequencies simultaneously. It wasn't spoken in any human language, yet somehow everyone understood it perfectly. The message was simple but chilling. Send one representative to my inspection. The UEC convened an emergency meeting within minutes. Leaders argued fiercely about who should go. Military leaders suggested sending soldiers armed to the teeth, while scientists insisted on choosing someone knowledgeable enough to handle whatever awaited them. Politicians debated endlessly, their egos clashing as they tried to avoid blame if things went wrong. Finally, someone proposed a solution neither heroic nor cowardly: a lottery. Every citizen registered under the UEC's database would have an equal chance of being selected. The idea was met with mixed reactions. Some saw it as fair, others as cruel. But time was running out. Within hours, the name of the chosen representative flashed across every screen worldwide: Dr. Ilara Voss. Ilara was not a soldier, diplomat, or politician. She was a xenobiologist, a scientist who specialized in studying extraterrestrial life forms. Born in the remnants of Brazil's rainforests, she had grown up surrounded by nature, fascinated by how organisms adapted to survive. Her career focused on analyzing samples brought back from Mars colonies and distant moons, piecing together clues about life beyond Earth. Despite her brilliance, she lived a quiet life, preferring solitude in her lab over public attention. When officials arrived at her apartment to inform her of her selection, Ilara froze. "Me?" she stammered, clutching the edges of her lab coat nervously. "Why me?" "You were chosen randomly," one official explained, though his tone suggested otherwise. "Your expertise may prove invaluable." Ilara wanted to protest, to argue that she wasn't qualified for something like this, but deep down, she knew resistance was futile. If she refused, someone else would take her place, and likely suffer worse consequences. With trembling hands, she packed a small bag and boarded the spacecraft prepared for the delegation. Accompanying her were 5 others. Captain Ryland Hart, a stoic military officer tasked with security; Dr. Mira Chen, an astrophysicist known for her work on wormhole theory; Ambassador Theo Grayson, a seasoned negotiator; Lieutenant Ava Singh, a communications expert; and Jonas Vega, a journalist embedded to document the mission. Each carried their own fears and hopes, their faces tense as the shuttle ascended toward the alien craft. As they approached the massive vessel, its sheer size became even more apparent. It dwarfed anything humans had ever constructed, its smooth surface reflecting light in mesmerizing patterns. There were no visible windows or weapons, yet it exuded power and mystery. When the shuttle docked inside a glowing bay, the group stepped out cautiously, their boots echoing against the metallic floor. Standing before them was a solitary figure cloaked in shimmering armor that seemed to shift colors depending on the angle. Its height matched that of a tall human, but its features were obscured beneath a sleek helmet. The being radiated authority, commanding silence without uttering a word. For several moments, nobody moved. Then the figure spoke, its voice resonating like thunder. Asterisk, you there. Human. Conduct my inspection. Asterisk, without hesitation, it pointed directly at Ilara. Gasps rippled through the delegation. Captain Hart stepped forward instinctively, his hand hovering near his weapon. What do you mean by inspection? He demanded. The alien ignored him completely, locking its gaze onto Ilara. She felt pinned beneath its scrutiny, her heart pounding wildly. Why? Why me? She managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. There was no explanation, only another command. Asterisk, come. Asterisk. Before anyone could stop her, Ilara found herself walking forward, leaving the safety of her companions behind. As she followed the alien deeper into the ship, the doors sealed shut behind her, cutting her off from the rest of the delegation. Panic bubbled in her chest, but curiosity kept her moving. Who, or what, was this creature? And why had it singled her out? Little did she know, her journey was only beginning. ###*** Part 2. Rules beyond comprehension. ****. Ilara followed the alien commander, introduced as Zirkin, down a long, dimly lit corridor. The walls shimmered faintly, pulsating with an iridescent glow that seemed alive. She tried to steady her breathing, but the weight of the situation pressed down on her like a physical force. Each step echoed loudly in the silence, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, not just by Zirkin, but by unseen eyes hidden within the ship itself. Finally, they entered a vast chamber filled with strange objects scattered across the floor. Some looked like crystalline sculptures, others resembled machines with moving parts, and a few were completely unidentifiable. At the center of the room stood a small pedestal, atop which rested a metallic orb covered in glowing runes. Its surface shifted colors subtly, almost as if it were breathing. Zirkin stopped abruptly and gestured toward the orb. Asterisk. Take it, asterisk, he commanded, his tone leaving no room for argument. Ilara hesitated, glancing at him cautiously. What is this? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he crossed his arms over his chest, his armor reflecting the soft light from the orb. After a pause, he said, Asterisk, it is your tool. Use it to conduct my inspection. Asterisk. What does that even mean? Ilara pressed, frustration creeping into her voice despite her fear. You haven't told me anything about what you want or why I'm here. Zirkin tilted his head slightly, as though considering her words. Then, without emotion, he replied, Asterisk, I require understanding. You will. Before Ilara could respond, Zirkin handed her a thin, translucent tablet etched with symbols similar to those on the orb. He tapped one corner of the device, and suddenly, images began appearing. A series of instructions written in perfectly comprehensible English. Ilara blinked in surprise. How had they translated their language so seamlessly? The rules were cryptic yet precise. 1. Scan each object in the room using the orb. 2. Record observations based on the readings displayed on the tablet. 3. Do not deviate from the order listed. 4. If errors occur, correct them immediately. Failure to follow these rules would result in unspecified consequences, not only for her but also for Earth itself. The gravity of the situation hit Ilara like a tidal wave. She swallowed hard, gripping the orb tightly in her hands. It felt cold at first, but gradually warmed until it seemed to hum softly against her palm. With no other choice, Ilara approached the nearest object, a jagged shard of black crystal hovering midair. Tentatively, she held the orb close to it. Instantly, The rooms on its surface lit up, projecting streams of data onto the tablet. Numbers, graphs, and diagrams flooded the screen, accompanied by brief descriptions in plain text. Asterisk energy signature detected. Classification: unknown asterisk. Ilara furrowed her brow, studying the information carefully. The crystal emitted some form of energy unlike anything she'd encountered before. Was it natural? Artificial? Dangerous? She jotted down notes on the tablet as instructed, though her mind raced with questions. What exactly was she supposed to understand from all this? As she moved to the next item, a pulsating sphere suspended inside a transparent cube, she noticed something odd. The moment the orb scanned it, the sphere's rhythm changed, speeding up ever so slightly. Startled, Ilara glanced at Zirkin, who stood silently observing her every move. His expression remained unreadable behind his helmet. "Did I do something wrong?" she asked nervously. Asterisk no. Asterisk, he replied after a pause. Asterisk, but observe closely. Every action has meaning. Asterisk. Ilara nodded, trying to focus. Over the next hour, she scanned several more objects, each one stranger than the last. There was a floating orb that emitted musical tones when touched, a cluster of translucent threads that writhed like living organisms, and a rectangular slab inscribed with shifting patterns that reminded her of ancient hieroglyphs. Each scan revealed new layers of complexity, but nothing concrete and off to piece together a larger picture. Frustration mounted as Ilara realized she wasn't merely documenting random artifacts. She was navigating a puzzle designed to test her ability to think critically under pressure. Then came the seventh object, a towering structure resembling a tree made entirely of glass. When Ilara brought the orb near it, the rooms flickered erratically, and the tablet emitted a sharp buzzing sound. Alarmed, she pulled back instinctively, but the buzzing grew louder, filling the room with an unsettling vibration. Zirkin stepped forward for the first time since the process began. Asterisk, steady yourself, asterisk, he commanded firmly. Asterisk, do not break contact. Asterisk. Heart pounding. Ilara forced herself to hold the orb steady, despite her instincts screaming at her to drop it. Slowly, the buzzing subsided, replaced by a soft chime. On the tablet, a message appeared. Asterisk, anomaly resolved. Proceed, asterisk. Relief washed over her, but it was short-lived. As she turned to thank Zirkin, or perhaps ask another question, she noticed subtle changes in the environment around her. The walls of the chamber had begun to shift, rearranging themselves into new configurations. Objects floated upward or sank into the floor, disappearing entirely. Even the lighting changed, casting eerie shadows that danced unpredictably. What's happening? Ilara whispered, clutching the orb tighter. Zirkin didn't answer directly. Instead, he said, asterisk, your presence alters the space. Adaptation is necessary. Asterisk. She stared at him, bewildered. My presence? What does that mean? Rather than explain, Zirkin gestured toward the remaining objects. Asterisk, continue. Asterisk. Though shaken, Ilara obeyed, moving to the next artifact. This one was different. It wasn't an object at all, but rather a projection of some kind. A ghostly figure materialized before her, humanoid in shape but translucent and shimmering. It appeared to be reaching out, its movements slow and deliberate. Ilara hesitated, unsure whether to approach. But the orb pulsed gently in her hand, urging her forward. When she finally scanned the projection, the tablet displayed a single line of text. Asterisk, entity classified. Echo fragment asterisk. What is an echo fragment? Ilara muttered aloud, turning to Zirkin for clarification. This time, he offered a hint of explanation. Asterisk, memories preserved. Fragments of existence. Asterisk. His words sent a chill down her spine. Were these echoes remnants of beings who had once lived aboard the ship, or something else entirely? Before she could dwell on it further, the projection faded, replaced by another object waiting to be scanned. By the time Ilara reached the final item, a smooth, egg-shaped stone resting on a pedestal, exhaustion weighed heavily on her. Her mind buzzed with unanswered questions, and her body ached from standing for hours. Yet, as she raised the orb one last time, she felt a flicker of determination. Whatever this inspection entailed, she refused to let fear overwhelm her curiosity. When the orb touched the stone, it emitted a brilliant flash of light. For a brief moment, Ilara saw visions, strange landscapes, alien cities, and glimpses of creatures unlike anything on Earth. Then, just as quickly, the images vanished, leaving her disoriented but exhilarated. On the tablet, a final message appeared. Asterisk inspection phase 1 complete asterisk. Zirkin approached her then, his posture relaxed slightly. Asterisk, you have performed adequately, asterisk, he said, his tone less harsh than before. Asterisk. Phase 2 begins tomorrow. Asterisk. Ilara opened her mouth to protest. She needed rest, answers, clarity. But no words came out. Instead, she simply nodded, too drained to argue. As Zirkin led her to a small Spartan chamber where she could sleep, Ilara couldn't help but wonder, what had she gotten herself into? And more importantly, what did Zirkin truly expect from her? Little did she know, the mysteries of the Critheri, and her role in unraveling them, were only beginning ###** Part 3. Bonds through curiosity ****. The next morning, or what Ilara assumed was morning, given the lack of natural light aboard the alien ship, she woke to find a tray of food waiting for her outside her chamber. It wasn't human food, of course. Instead, it consisted of small, gelatinous cubes in varying colors and textures. She hesitated at first, unsure if they were safe to eat, but hunger eventually overcame caution. To her surprise, the cubes tasted surprisingly pleasant, each one releasing bursts of flavor that seemed tailored to her preferences. As she ate, Ilara replayed the events of the previous day in her mind, the cryptic instructions, the strange artifacts, the shifting environment. It all felt like pieces of a puzzle she couldn't quite assemble. And then there was Zirkin. His demeanor remained cold and authoritative, yet there were moments when his tone softened ever so slightly, as though he too was grappling with something beyond his control. When she finished eating, Zirkin appeared at the entrance to her chamber. Without preamble, he gestured for her to follow him. This time, they didn't return to the inspection chamber, but instead entered a new area of the ship, a vast library-like space filled with glowing panels, holographic displays, and shelves lined with objects that pulsed faintly with energy. Today. Zirkin began, his voice steady. You will learn. Ilara frowned, confused. Learn what? He pointed to a nearby panel, which lit up as she approached. On it was a series of images depicting planets, stars, and various life forms. Some looked familiar, species documented by human explorers, but others were entirely alien. As Ilara studied the display, text scrolled across the bottom in perfect English, explaining the history and significance of each image. It became clear that this was no ordinary lesson. Zirkin wasn't simply teaching her about random celestial bodies or creatures. He was showing her glimpses of Critheri culture, their history, and their struggles. She saw images of their homeworld, a planet bathed in perpetual twilight, its skies streaked with auroras, and learned how the Critheri had evolved to thrive in such an environment. They were explorers by nature, driven by an insatiable curiosity about the universe. But alongside their achievements were darker chapters. Wars fought over resources, experiments conducted on lesser species, and internal conflicts that threatened to tear their society apart. At one point, Ilara paused before a particularly haunting image, a massive structure collapsing into ruin. What happened here? She asked, turning to Zirkin. For a moment, he said nothing. Then, in a rare display of vulnerability, he replied, failure. Arrogance. We sought power without understanding its cost. Asterisk. His words struck a chord within Ilara. Humanity's own history was riddled with similar mistakes. Colonization, environmental destruction, greed. In some ways, the Crithari weren't so different from humans after all. Encouraged by his openness, Ilara ventured another question. Why are you showing me this? Why involve me at all? Zirkin hesitated, his helmet tilting slightly as though weighing his response. Finally, he said, Asterisk, you ask questions others do not. You seek meaning where others see only tasks. That is valuable. Asterisk. Ilara blinked, surprised by the compliment. But why me specifically? There are smarter people back on Earth who could probably understand this better than I can. Asterisk. Smarter does not always mean wiser, asterisk, Zirkin countered. Asterisk. Your kind values logic above all else, yet you often ignore intuition. You balance both. Asterisk. Though his praise was unexpected, it did little to ease her unease. She still didn't fully trust him or the situation, but she couldn't deny the growing sense of connection between them. For all his stoicism, Zirkin seemed genuinely curious about her perspective, asking occasional questions about Earth and humanity's progress. Their conversations weren't easy, however. Zirkin's rigid adherence to protocol frequently clashed with Ilara's more flexible approach. During one exchange, she suggested skipping certain scans to focus on higher priority items. He immediately rejected the idea, insisting that every step must be followed precisely. Frustrated, Ilara snapped, "If we don't adapt, we'll never get anywhere." To her astonishment, Zirkin didn't reprimand her. Instead, he regarded her thoughtfully. Asterisk adaptation is dangerous, asterisk, he admitted. Asterisk, but perhaps necessary. Asterisk. This admission marked a turning point in their dynamic. Slowly but surely, Zirkin began loosening his grip on the strict rules governing their interactions. He allowed Ilara to experiment with the scanning process, giving her more freedom to explore the artifacts at her own pace. In return, she shared insights about Earth's ecosystems and scientific advancements, drawing parallels between human and Crithari innovations. One day, while examining a crystalline structure that pulsed with rhythmic light, Ilara accidentally triggered a malfunction in the orb. Startled, she dropped it, and the rooms flickered erratically before going dark. Panicking, she braced herself for punishment, expecting Zirkin to intervene harshly. Instead, he knelt beside her and picked up the orb. For the first time, he removed his helmet, revealing a face that was both alien and strikingly expressive. His skin shimmered faintly, and his eyes glowed with an inner light. Asterisk, do not fear, asterisk, he said softly. Asterisk, mistakes are part of learning. Asterisk. Together, they worked to repair the orb, their hands brushing occasionally as they manipulated its delicate mechanisms. Though neither spoke much during the process, the silence between them felt less tense and more companionable. By the time the orb was functioning again, Ilara realized something significant had shifted, not just in Zirkin's behavior, but in her perception of him. That evening, as they returned to her chamber, Zirkin lingered briefly at the doorway. Asterisk, tomorrow. Asterisk, he said, almost hesitantly. Asterisk, we delve deeper. Be prepared. Asterisk. Ilara nodded, watching as he disappeared down the corridor. Despite the lingering uncertainty of her mission, she felt a spark of hope. Perhaps, through curiosity and mutual respect, she and Zirkin could bridge the gap between their two species, one question at a time. Little did she know, the challenges ahead would test not only her intellect, but also her courage and resolve. Yet, as she lay down to sleep, she couldn't help but feel that she was exactly where she needed to be. ###**** Part 4. Shadows of Doubt ****. The days blurred together as Ilara continued her work aboard the alien ship, each new discovery adding layers to the mystery surrounding the Crithari and their enigmatic commander, Zirkin. While she had grown more comfortable with the scanning process and even found moments of genuine camaraderie with Zirkin, Doubts began creeping into her mind like shadows stretching across a dimly lit room. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. During one session in the inspection chamber, Ilara scanned an artifact that resembled a smooth metallic sphere etched with intricate patterns. As the orb's runes illuminated the tablet, she noticed something unusual: fragments of data hidden beneath the surface readings. At first, she dismissed it as a glitch or irrelevant detail, but curiosity got the better of her. She tapped on the faint lines of code, and suddenly, a secondary set of information appeared, a log detailing experiments conducted on other species. Her heart sank as she read through the entries. The Critheri had not only studied these beings but also manipulated their biology, altering them for purposes unknown. Some logs hinted at success, while others documented failures that often ended in tragedy for the subjects involved. Though the language was clinical and detached, Ilara couldn't ignore the implications. These weren't just scientific endeavors. They were invasive, ethically questionable actions that left her stomach churning. When Zirkin entered the chamber moments later, Ilara turned to him, her voice trembling with anger and disbelief. "What is this?" she demanded, holding up the tablet. "These logs, are you telling me your people have been experimenting on other species?" Zirkin paused, his expression unreadable behind his helmet. Then, slowly, he removed it, revealing his shimmering skin and glowing eyes. His tone was calm, but tinged with regret. "Asterisk, yes. Asterisk," he admitted. Asterisk, our ancestors believed such actions were necessary for survival, but those practices are forbidden now. Asterisk. Forbidden. Ilara shot back, her frustration boiling over. "That doesn't change what happened. How can I trust you when your history is full of harm?" Zirkin didn't defend himself immediately. Instead, he stepped closer, his gaze steady. Asterisk, trust is earned, not given freely. Asterisk, he said. Asterisk, I do not expect you to believe me without proof. But know this, my purpose here is not to repeat past mistakes. It is to prevent further suffering, for both our peoples. Asterisk. His words gave Ilara pause, but they weren't enough to erase her unease. Over the following days, she became increasingly vigilant, scrutinizing every artifact and interaction for signs of deception. Each scan revealed more unsettling truths about the Crithari, evidence of internal dissent among their ranks, whispers of factions opposed to Zirkin's leadership, and hints that the inspection might serve a dual purpose, one that could jeopardize Earth's safety. Meanwhile, back on Earth, tensions simmered. News of Ilara's mission had spread globally, sparking heated debates. Some hailed her as a hero risking her life for humanity's future, while others accused her of naivety, claiming the aliens were using her as a pawn. Protests erupted outside UEC headquarters, with crowds demanding answers, or worse, retaliation against the delegation still stranded aboard the alien vessel. Dr. Mira Chen, the astrophysicist who had accompanied Ilara initially, managed to send fragmented messages back to Earth via encrypted channels. Her updates painted a grim picture. The Crithari fleet remained ominously silent, its intentions unclear. Rumors swirled that the aliens might be planning an invasion, using Ilara's cooperation as a smokescreen. Even Captain Rylan Hart, ever the pragmatist, voiced concerns during a tense video transmission. "We need to consider all possibilities," he urged, including the worst-case scenario. Ilara tried to block out the noise, focusing instead on completing her tasks. Yet the weight of her isolation pressed down on her, heavier with each passing day. She missed the sound of human voices, the comfort of familiar faces. Zirkin, for all his growing openness, couldn't fill that void. He was still an alien, a representative of a civilization whose values and motives often clashed with her own. One evening, after another grueling session in the inspection chamber, Ilara retreated to her quarters, exhausted. As she sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the orb resting in her lap, a thought struck her. What if she wasn't being tested solely for her ability to understand the artifacts? What if the true test was whether she could reconcile her fear and mistrust with the potential for collaboration? Her musings were interrupted by a soft knock at the door. Startled, she looked up to see Zirkin standing there, his helmet tucked under one arm. For once, he seemed hesitant, almost vulnerable. Asterisk, "May I enter?" Asterisk, he asked, his voice unusually gentle. Ilara hesitated before nodding. Sure. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. After a moment of silence, he spoke. Asterisk, "You carried out within you," asterisk, he said. Asterisk, "I sense it in your questions, your hesitation. Speak freely, human. I will listen." Asterisk. For a long moment, Ilara simply stared at him, torn between anger and exhaustion. Finally, she let her guard down. "I don't know what to think anymore," she confessed. "Every time I learn something new about your people, it feels like I'm uncovering another reason not to trust you. And yet, I want to. I want to believe that this isn't just some elaborate scheme, that we're actually working towards something good here." Zirkin listened intently, his glowing eyes fixed on her. When she finished, he exhaled slowly. Asterisk, "Doubt is natural," asterisk, he said. Asterisk, "It keeps us grounded, reminds us of our flaws. But it can also blind us to opportunity. You seek truth, Ilara. So do I. That is why I chose you, to find common ground where none seems possible." Asterisk. His sincerity caught her off guard. For the first time, she saw him not as a distant authority figure, but as someone burdened by responsibilities far greater than hers. She realized that, despite his power, Zirkin was as trapped by circumstance as she was, perhaps even more so. Before she could respond, a sudden alarm blared throughout the ship, jolting them both to attention. Lights flashed red, and the walls vibrated with a low hum. Zirkin moved swiftly to the door, turning back briefly. Asterisk, "Stay here," asterisk, he commanded. Asterisk, "This is not safe." Asterisk. But Ilara refused to stay behind. Grabbing the orb, she followed him into the corridor, where chaos reigned. Crew members hurried past, shouting in their native tongue, while holographic displays flickered erratically. Something was wrong, not just with the ship, but with the fabric of reality itself. The air shimmered unnaturally, and gravity fluctuated, causing objects to float momentarily before crashing back down. Zirkin led her to the command center, where a massive screen displayed images of rogue vessels emerging from hyperspace near the main fleet. They bore markings similar to the Crithari insignia, but were distorted, almost corrupted. Asterisk, "Dissenters." Asterisk, Zirkin growled, his voice laced with fury. Asterisk, "They oppose my efforts to forge peace." Asterisk. Ilara's heart raced as she pieced together the implications. The dissenters weren't just threatening the mission. They were endangering Earth itself. If they succeeded in derailing negotiations, humanity might face retaliation instead of alliance. And she, unwittingly, had become a key player in this cosmic game of chess. As Zirkin prepared to confront the threat, he turned to Ilara one last time. Asterisk, "Your role is not yet finished," asterisk, he said. Asterisk, "Trust me or do not, but know that our fates are intertwined." Asterisk. With those words, he disappeared into the fray, leaving Ilara alone amidst the turmoil. Clutching the orb tightly, she resolved to see this through, not just for herself, but for the fragile hope of unity between two vastly different worlds. Whatever lay ahead, she knew one thing for certain. The hardest choices were yet to come. ###** Part 5. Revelation of Purpose ****. The chaos aboard the Crithari ship reached a fever pitch as Ilara stood frozen in the command center, her mind racing to process what she had just witnessed. The rogue vessels, dissenters within Zirkin's own fleet, had emerged from hyperspace like predators circling their prey. Their aggressive maneuvers suggested they weren't here for negotiation. They were here to disrupt, perhaps even destroy, whatever fragile progress Zirkin and Ilara had made. As alarms blared and crew members scrambled to respond, Ilara clutched the orb tightly in her hands. She felt its warmth pulse against her palm, almost as if it were alive, responding to the tension around her. Her instincts screamed at her to retreat, to find shelter until the danger passed, but something deeper, a mix of determination and curiosity, kept her rooted in place. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about understanding why she'd been chosen, why this mission mattered so much. Suddenly, a holographic projection flickered to life before her. It displayed streams of data flowing rapidly across the screen, interspersed with fragmented messages written in both English and alien script. One line caught her eye. *Core destabilization imminent. Beneath it was an image of the crystalline structure she had scanned days earlier, the one that pulsed with rhythmic light. Its energy signature now appeared erratic, spiking dangerously. Ilara's heart skipped a beat. Could the dissenters be targeting the artifact? And if so, why? She didn't have time to ponder further, as Zirkin reappeared in the doorway, his armor scorched and his expression grim. Behind him, 2 Krithuri soldiers carried injured comrades, their movements hurried and frantic. We must secure the core, Zirkin said sharply, addressing Ilara directly. Without it, the ship, and possibly Earth, will suffer catastrophic consequences. What do you mean? Ilara asked, her voice trembling. What is the core? Zirkin hesitated, then gestured for her to follow him. As they moved swiftly through the corridors, dodging bursts of energy from nearby skirmishes, he explained in clipped tones. The core is a relic of our ancestors, a source of immense power capable of stabilizing or destroying entire systems. If the dissenters seize control, they will use it to force your world into submission. Ilara's stomach churned at the thought. All along, she had believed this mission was about building bridges between species, fostering trust and cooperation. But now she realized it was far more urgent and dangerous than she could have imagined. The stakes weren't just personal, they were planetary. When they reached the chamber housing the core, Ilara gasped at the sight. The crystalline structure floated above a pedestal, its once steady glow now flickering wildly. Around it, holographic barriers shimmered weakly, struggling to contain the surging energy within. Dissenter forces were already attempting to breach the room, their weapons pounding relentlessly against the shields. Zirkin turned to Ilara, his glowing eyes locking onto hers. You must stabilize the core, he instructed. Use the orb. It holds the key. But I don't know how. Ilara protested, panic rising in her chest. I'm not trained for this. You are the only one who can, Zirkin replied firmly. Your scans revealed patterns no Krithuri could decipher. Trust yourself. With no other options, Ilara stepped forward, positioning herself near the pedestal. She held the orb aloft, its runes glowing brighter as it connected with the core's energy field. Streams of data flooded the tablet in her other hand, overwhelming her senses. Lines of code scrolled too quickly to read, accompanied by diagrams and warnings flashing in bold red text. Focusing all her attention, Ilara began sifting through the information, searching for anything that might help stabilize the core. Hours of scanning artifacts had honed her ability to recognize patterns, and soon she spotted anomalies buried deep within the readings. They resembled the hidden logs she had uncovered earlier, fragments of ancient programming designed to regulate the core's output. As she input commands using the orb, the core's fluctuations lessened slightly, though the process was painstakingly slow. Sweat dripped down her forehead, and her hands trembled with exhaustion. Every second felt like an eternity as explosions rocked the ship outside, shaking the very foundation beneath her feet. Then, without warning, the dissenter forces breached the chamber. A group of armored figures stormed inside, weapons raised. Zirkin immediately sprang into action, engaging them in combat while shouting orders at Ilara. Do not stop. Finish the sequence. Ilara tried to block out the sounds of battle behind her, focusing solely on the task at hand. With each correction she entered, the core grew marginally more stable, but it wasn't enough. Something critical was missing. Some final piece needed to restore balance completely. That's when she noticed it, a faint signal emanating from the orb itself. When she followed the trail, she discovered a hidden subroutine buried within its programming. Activating it caused the orb to project a hologram of a complex geometric pattern, which aligned perfectly with symbols etched onto the pedestal below the core. Realization dawned on Ilara. It's a failsafe, she whispered aloud. This pattern is meant to override the destabilization. Summoning every ounce of courage, she pressed the orb firmly against the pedestal, initiating the failsafe sequence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a deafening hum, the core's energy surged outward, bathing the room in blinding light. The holographic barriers strengthened, repelling the dissenters' attacks and forcing them to retreat. When the light faded, silence fell over the chamber. The core's glow had returned to its steady rhythm, and the ship's alarms ceased. Breathing heavily, Ilara turned to see Zirkin standing amidst the remnants of the battle, his armor battered but his posture resolute. You did it, he said, his voice filled with quiet awe. You saved us. Ilara shook her head, still processing everything that had transpired. I couldn't have done it without you, or the orb. What exactly is this thing? Zirkin approached her slowly, his gaze softening. Is more than a tool. It is a legacy, a creation of my ancestors meant to bridge gaps between civilizations. That is why it chose you. Chose me. Ilara echoed, incredulous. But why? Because you embody hope. Zirkin explained. Not blind optimism, but the kind born from struggle and resilience. My people, we have forgotten how to hope. We cling to duty and tradition, afraid to embrace change. But you remind us of what we once were, and what we could be again. His words struck a chord within Ilara, resonating with her own fears and aspirations. She had doubted herself countless times during this journey, questioning whether she was truly qualified to represent humanity. Yet here she stood, having accomplished something neither humans nor Critheri alone could achieve. Before she could respond, Zirkin continued. There is one truth I must share, one reason I brought you here beyond the inspection. He paused, his expression heavy with emotion. My people are dying, Ilara. A plague unlike any we have faced threatens to extinguish us entirely. We sought your help not as conquerors, but as supplicants desperate for salvation. Ilara stared at him, stunned. The weight of his confession settled over her like a leaden blanket. Everything. The cryptic instructions, the artifacts, the tests. It all made sense now. The Critheri weren't invaders or manipulators. They were survivors clinging to the edge of extinction, reaching out for aid. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as she processed the enormity of the revelation. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She asked softly. Fear, Zirkin admitted. Fear of rejection, of judgment. I hoped your actions would speak louder than words, that you would come to understand our plight through experience rather than explanation. Ilara nodded slowly, absorbing his words. Though anger simmered beneath the surface, anger at being kept in the dark, she couldn't deny the sincerity in his tone. This wasn't just about saving the Critheri. It was about forging a future where both species could thrive together. We'll find a way, she said finally, her voice steady despite the turmoil within her. Together. Zirkin bowed his head, gratitude evident in his luminous eyes. Thank you, Ilara Voss. You give us a chance, not just to survive, but to begin anew. Asterisk. As the dust settled and the ship stabilized, Ilara realized that her journey was far from over. The challenges ahead would test her ingenuity, resolve, and compassion like never before. But for the first time since stepping aboard the alien vessel, she felt a spark of genuine hope, not just for herself, but for the fragile bond forming between two vastly different worlds. Little did she know, the hardest decisions and greatest sacrifices still lay ahead. Part 6. A leap of faith. The revelation about the Krithari's plight hung heavily in the air as Ilara and Zirkin stood together in the aftermath of the battle. The ship, though battered, was stable once more, its systems slowly returning to normal. Yet, the weight of Zirkin's confession, that his people were dying from a mysterious plague, left Ilara grappling with conflicting emotions. Sympathy warred with suspicion, hope clashed with fear, and her mind raced with possibilities. As they returned to the command center, Zirkin gestured for Ilara to take a seat beside him at a console displaying streams of data. Asterisk. This is what we know. Asterisk, he said, pulling up holographic projections of microscopic organisms unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. The images showed clusters of crystalline structures intertwined with organic matter, pulsating faintly as if alive. Asterisk. The affliction spreads through our biology, corrupting both body and mind. It began decades ago, but efforts to contain it have failed. Asterisk. Ilara studied the projections intently, her scientific instincts kicking in despite her emotional turmoil. It looks like a hybrid infection, part biological, part something else. What's causing it? Zirkin hesitated before answering. Asterisk. We believe it originated from one of our experiments, an attempt to enhance our species' resilience. Instead, we unleashed this curse. Asterisk. His words sent a chill down Ilara's spine. She thought back to the logs she'd uncovered earlier, detailing invasive experiments on other species. Was this plague a consequence of their arrogance? If so, how could humanity possibly help without risking similar consequences? Before she could voice her concerns, Zirkin continued. Asterisk. That is why I brought you here. Not merely to conduct inspections or stabilize the core, but to offer a solution. Your kind possesses ingenuity and adaptability that we lack. Combined with our technology, there may be a way to cure this affliction and prevent it from spreading further. Asterisk. Ilara frowned, her thoughts swirling. You're asking me to combine human knowledge with Krithari tech. That's risky, especially given everything I've learned about your past mistakes. Asterisk. I understand your hesitation, asterisk, Zirkin replied, his tone softer now. Asterisk. But consider this. Failure means extinction, for my people and potentially for yours. The dissenters who attacked us are driven by desperation. They see violence as the only path forward. If we fail to find a cure, others will follow their lead, endangering countless worlds, including Earth. Asterisk. Ilara let out a shaky breath, realizing the gravity of the situation. This wasn't just about saving the Krithari. It was about preventing a galactic catastrophe. Still, the enormity of the task felt overwhelming. How could she, a single scientist, possibly devise a solution when entire civilizations have failed? Determined to try, Ilara proposed a plan. Using the orb as a bridge between human and Krithari systems, she suggested creating a hybrid treatment protocol. By analyzing the plague's mechanisms alongside Earth-based medical advancements, they might develop a counteragent capable of halting its progression. However, implementing such a plan would require cooperation, not just from Zirkin, but from the entire Krithari fleet. When Zirkin presented the idea to his crew, resistance flared immediately. Many viewed collaboration with humans as taboo, an affront to their traditions. Some even accused Zirkin of weakness, claiming he had compromised the mission by placing trust in an outsider. Tensions escalated, threatening to derail the fragile alliance forged during the battle. Ilara watched silently as arguments erupted around her, feeling increasingly isolated amidst the chaos. But then, something unexpected happened. One of the senior officers, a female Critheri named Vera, spoke up in support of Zirkin's decision. Desperation has blinded us. She declared, her voice cutting through the noise. If we cling to pride instead of seeking solutions, we doom ourselves. Let us give this human a chance. Her words seemed to sway others, and gradually, the dissent softened. Though not everyone agreed, enough voices supported the plan to move forward. With renewed determination, Ilara dove into the work, collaborating closely with Zirkin and a small team of Critheri scientists. Days turned into weeks as they experimented tirelessly, combining human ingenuity with Critheri precision. Ilara utilized the orb to interface with advanced equipment, running simulations and testing hypotheses at speeds unimaginable on Earth. Meanwhile, Zirkin provided invaluable insights into his people's biology, helping her navigate the complexities of their physiology. Despite their progress, challenges abounded. The plague proved resilient, adapting to every attempted countermeasure. Frustration mounted as failures piled up, and doubts crept back into Ilara's mind. Was this truly possible, or were they chasing a hopeless dream? One evening, after another unsuccessful trial, Ilara sat alone in the lab, staring blankly at the data scrolling across the tablet. Exhaustion weighed heavily on her shoulders, and tears threatened to spill over. Just as she considered giving up, Zirkin entered quietly, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. You are weary. He observed softly. Rest is necessary. I can't rest, Ilara replied, her voice thick with emotion. Every second counts. If I stop, even for a moment, someone else dies. Zirkin knelt beside her, meeting her gaze with unwavering intensity. Your strength inspires us, Ilara. But remember, persistence without care leads to collapse. You must preserve yourself to preserve others. His words struck a chord within her, reminding her of lessons learned long ago in the rainforests of Brazil, how ecosystems thrived only when balance was maintained. Taking a deep breath, she nodded. You're right. I need to step back, even if just for a little while. With renewed clarity, Ilara allowed herself a brief respite. As she rested, fragments of ideas began coalescing in her mind. When she returned to the lab hours later, refreshed and reinvigorated, she proposed a bold adjustment to their approach. Instead of targeting the plague directly, they would focus on strengthening the host's immune system, enabling it to fight off the infection naturally. The team hesitated initially, concerned about the risks involved. But Ilara's confidence and Zirkin's unwavering support convinced them to proceed. Together, they modified the treatment protocol, incorporating elements of Earth-based immunology alongside Crithari biotechnology. Finally, after countless trials and sleepless nights, they achieved a breakthrough. The hybrid treatment successfully neutralized the plague in a controlled test subject, restoring vitality to cells ravaged by the disease. Cheers erupted throughout the lab as the realization sank in. They had done it. But victory came at a cost. Implementing the cure fleet-wide required resources beyond what the ship currently possessed. To produce enough doses, they needed materials found only on Earth, or in nearby asteroid fields guarded by hostile factions. Retrieving them would mean risking open conflict with the dissenters, who remained determined to sabotage any effort toward peace. Faced with this dilemma, Zirkin made a fateful decision. Kai will accompany you to Earth, he announced. Together, we will secure the resources needed to save my people. And yours. Ilara stared at him, stunned. Are you sure? This isn't just dangerous. It's unprecedented. Humans aren't ready for something like this. Then it is time they were. Asterisk, Zirkin replied firmly. Asterisk, change begins with courage. Will you stand with me? Asterisk. After a long pause, Ilara nodded. Yes, we'll face whatever comes next, together. As preparations began for their journey to Earth, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than a mission. It was a leap of faith. For two vastly different species to unite against impossible odds required trust, sacrifice, and hope. And though the road ahead remained uncertain, she believed, for the first time, that a brighter future might be possible. Little did she know, the greatest test of all awaited them on Earth, a world unprepared for the arrival of an alien commander willing to risk everything for salvation. ###*** Part 7. A New Dawn. ***. The return to Earth was unlike anything Ilara had ever experienced. As the Critheri ship descended through the atmosphere, she stood beside Zirkin in the observation deck, watching as the blue-green planet came into view. It was breathtakingly beautiful, a mosaic of oceans, continents, and swirling clouds that seemed almost fragile against the vastness of space. Yet beneath its serene surface lay a world teetering on the edge of chaos, scarred by centuries of conflict, greed, and environmental collapse. Zirkin turned to her, his glowing eyes reflecting the light from Earth's horizon. Asterisk. Your home is resilient, asterisk, he said softly. Asterisk. But resilience alone cannot heal wounds this deep. Asterisk. Ilara nodded, her heart heavy with both pride and concern. She knew what awaited them below. Skepticism, fear, and resistance. The UEC would demand answers. The public would react with outrage or awe. And factions within humanity would likely exploit the situation for their own gain. Bringing Zirkin, a living symbol of alien presence, to Earth wasn't just risky, it was unprecedented. But there was no other way. If they were to save the Critheri and potentially prevent future threats, they needed Earth's cooperation. As the ship touched down in a designated landing zone outside New Geneva, a massive crowd had already gathered. News of the alien commander's arrival spread like wildfire, drawing people from all corners of the globe. Some held signs calling for peace, while others shouted demands for transparency, or even hostility. Military forces surrounded the area, their weapons trained on the vessel despite assurances from Ilara's delegation that Zirkin posed no immediate threat. When the airlock opened, Ilara stepped out first, her hands raised to signal calm. Behind her, Zirkin emerged, his towering figure clad in shimmering armor that caught the sunlight. Gasps rippled through the crowd, followed by murmurs of disbelief and awe. Cameras flashed relentlessly, capturing every detail of the historic moment. Before anyone could speak, Zirkin addressed the assembly, his voice resonating clearly thanks to translation technology embedded in his helmet. Asterisk, I come not as an enemy, but as a supplicant seeking aid. My people face extinction, and your ingenuity offers our only hope. Asterisk. His words silenced the crowd momentarily, though whispers soon erupted again. Journalist Jonas Vega, who had accompanied Ilara initially, pushed forward with his microphone. Why should we trust you? He demanded. How do we know this isn't some elaborate scheme? Ilara stepped forward, placing herself between Zirkin and the reporters. Because I've seen it firsthand, she replied firmly. I've worked alongside him, witnessed his struggles, and helped develop a cure that could save billions, not just Critheri, but humans too. This is bigger than fear or mistrust. It's about survival. Her impassioned pleas seemed to sway some, but others remained unconvinced. Ambassador Theo Grayson, representing the UAC, approached cautiously. Dr. Voss, Commander Zirkin, we need proof, evidence that your intentions are genuine. Without hesitation, Zirkin handed over a data crystal containing detailed information about the plague, the hybrid treatment, and the dissenters' threat. He also offered samples of the cure, urging the UEC to verify its efficacy independently. Test it, Ilara added. If it works, you'll have all the proof you need. Over the next several days, tensions ran high as scientists and policymakers debated the implications of collaborating with the Crithari. Protests erupted worldwide, with some groups arguing that aiding aliens would divert resources desperately needed on Earth. Others saw it as an opportunity to rebuild trust between humanity and the cosmos, a chance to prove that coexistence was possible. Amidst the turmoil, Ilara found herself at the center of the storm. Media outlets clamored for interviews, politicians sought her counsel, and ordinary citizens looked to her as a bridge between two worlds. Despite the pressure, she remained steadfast, advocating tirelessly for cooperation. Her partnership with Zirkin became a focal point of hope, symbolizing the potential for unity across species. Eventually, after rigorous testing confirmed the cure's effectiveness, the UEC agreed to provide the necessary resources. Mining operations began in nearby asteroid fields, extracting materials essential for mass-producing the treatment. Meanwhile, efforts to neutralize the dissenters intensified, with Earth's military forces working alongside the Crithari fleet to secure supply routes. Throughout the process, Ilara and Zirkin grew closer, their bond deepening as they navigated challenges together. Late one evening, as they stood on a hill overlooking New Geneva, Zirkin turned to her with an uncharacteristic softness in his gaze. Asterisk, "You have changed me, Ilara Voss." Asterisk, he admitted. Asterisk, "You've shown me that trust can transcend barriers, even those we build ourselves." Asterisk. Ilara smiled faintly, her heart swelling with emotion. "And you've reminded me why I became a scientist, to make a difference, no matter how small." Though their journey was far from over, a sense of accomplishment settled over them. Together, they had forged a path where none existed before, a fragile yet profound connection between humanity and the Crithari. In the final days before the Crithari fleet prepared to depart, Zirkin presented Ilara with a gift, a fragment of the orb, imbued with knowledge and memories of their shared experiences. Asterisk, "Take this," asterisk, he said. Asterisk, "Let it guide your people as it has guided mine. Perhaps one day our paths will cross again." Asterisk. Tears welled in Ilara's eyes as she accepted the shard, its warmth pulsing gently against her palm. Though tempted to join Zirkin on his journey, she knew her place was here, on Earth, helping humanity heal and grow. With a heavy heart, she bid him farewell, watching as the alien ship ascended into the sky and vanished among the stars. As night fell, Ilara gazed upward, the shard clutched tightly in her hand. For the first time in years, she felt a spark of genuine optimism, not just for humanity, but for the countless possibilities awaiting discovery among the cosmos. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she believed they could be faced with courage, compassion, and hope. And so, under the watchful eyes of the stars, a new chapter began, one filled with promise, resilience, and the enduring belief that even the most distant worlds could find common ground.